Topic 4, as always.
I'm gonna be fine.
Don't touch it.
I'm gonna be fine.
I might have to bail out midway through this, by the way. I'm sorry.
Okay, cool.
We have to get on a plane.
Topic 4, as always, brought to you by the Kinda Funny forums. Go to kindafunny.com/Gamescast topic. Leave a topic you want us to discuss in the show. I would really, 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 really appreciate it if you tried to pretend you're on Twitter and like
abbreviate.
keep them short because I'm
paragraphs.
I'm
These
getting some
kids with their
essays and it's
paragraphs.
hard. And today I chose a couple paragraphs. It's a paragraph day. Is that how you feel about that,
Yeah.
Greg? Yeah. But I would appreciate just short, concise. Let's do it because then I want to do more. I want to fit more of them into an episode. All right. We're starting off right with my boy Johnny KC with Kojima on his world tour and hanging out with his buddy Norman Reedus.
In search of new technology.
Yes. How badass is that? What do you think is going on with Silent Hills?
Silent Hills is dead.
Yeah.
The new Guillermo del Toro, Hideo Kojima, and Norman Reedus horror project is alive and well.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
That is awesome. And
Yeah.
it's great to see all this stuff. I love seeing the whole Twitter adventure go down. Like Hideo Tube, when's that collab happening? We got to make it go down.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really excited about it all. I hope that's what it ends up being.
I'm very stoked because next week I got to notice today that my Kojima Productions care package is shipping. The one I bought with like the cup and the shirt and the shot glass. I'm stoked.
Yeah. How do you feel like? What do you think Norman Reedus feels right now about all this? He
Norman
posted on
Reedus is
Instagram.
probably just Norman Reedus. You know what I mean? He's not a live wire. He seems like he's got great actor. Don't get me wrong. I've talked to the man. You can see it on kindafunny.com. But it's just like I'm sure he's happy. I don't know. I would love to talk to him about what it all means to him.
Yeah.
Games and Kojima and all this other stuff.
Well, the fact that he posted it on his Instagram was the most interesting thing to me. Like,
Sure.
there's the Kojima Productions logo. It's like, that seems like a off-character thing, just based off the limited shit that I know about the guy.
It's not off limit at all.
Really?
Norman Reedus do that kind of shit. Norman Reedus likes to stir the pot.
He's a
I
pot
follow
stirrer.
www Big Bald Head on Instagram. Let me tell you, I know all about it.
What do you think, Colin?
I think you guys are wrong. I don't think he's doing a game with a horror game, and I don't think it's going to involve Norman Reedus. I think that they expose themselves to incredible litigious action by Konami if they do anything like that.
Bring it, they say. I don't think it'll be their first game out the gate.
Yeah,
but
I think
it's
it could
coming.
be. I don't think it'd be the first one either.
Well, but then the game's going to come out in 2025 or something like that. Like it's so, which is possible, but like we're way ahead. Let's see how like the first game does. No, I don't. I think they might be doing a horror game, but I don't think it would involve anyone that was involved in the old game because I don't think that Sony would be that stupid because I do think that it exposes them to incredible amount of like bleed over from a previous project at a previous company with a previous publisher at a previous engine with previous foreknowledge of what was going on, and that doesn't seem like a smart move. I just don't know that Sony would want to get in bed with for a PlayStation 4 exclusive that is a horror game. I just don't know that that's smart. We were all excited about PT and we were all excited about Silent Hills, and that made sense for Konami. But if Sony's going to get Kojima, then they better get a Metal Gear out of him. And I'm not saying like a literal Metal Gear, and I'm not saying like it has to be like Ground Zeroes or Phantom Pain or anything like that. But it like get what he does best out of him. In a way that affects most sales for PlayStation 4 consoles, and obviously it'll be on PC as well. So I just don't, horror games aren't part of the zeitgeist anymore. They used to be, but they're not. And maybe
I think they are more so than they used to be.
Well, no, I think like 96, 97, 98, 2001, 2002, like with Silent Hill 2, or Silent Hill,
Outlast,
Silent Hill 2.
and Amnesia, and Slender, and all that. I think they're
Resident
more
Evil
popular.
4 sold more than all those games combined. I guess that's the point I'm trying. I guess that's the kind of point I'm trying to make. I love Outlast. I'm not saying that there's not a place for them. I'm just saying like
If you count PC sales, are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I mean, like think about Resident Evil. Think about the zeitgeist. Well, maybe you were a little young, but and I mean that as an insult, but like Resident Evil.
No,
on
I
PS1
know.
was like.
But I mean, like just like looking at the. Like with what PewDiePie has done with that stuff.
I was going to say, I feel like they've been on the
players,
upswing
like,
lately, and I think PT was the one where I was like, oh shit, here's somebody who's going to put a lot of stuff
like
behind
make
it.
this a real thing.
And I think, again, you're just jumping to the conclusion. I don't think it's the first game out the gate. I don't think it needs to be Sony's game, but I think that you see them all collaborate again on a horror game down the line.
Maybe, but that's so far away. It's like I don't know. I just don't think that's a smart use of him. I wasn't so sure it was a smart use of him to do Silent Hills. Like I don't know. Like his I mean, he's done Zone of the Enders and other things, but like he's about the cinematic quality of this like weird. He does weird shit. I just
sounds perfect for a horror game.
I don't know. I don't know that. I think horror is full of tropes and even playing PT, which I thought was clever. We played it together and it was fine. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I don't know. My personal opinion on it is that he's so much more clever than that. Like I just don't know. I don't know. If I was Sony, I wouldn't be like, do exactly what you're going to do with Konami. Yeah, like.
But again, it doesn't have to be the Sony game.
Yeah, but what are you saying? It doesn't have to be the Sony game. The Sony game. I don't understand what you're saying. So you're saying like hypothetically in 10 years he's gonna build a horror game?
Why can't he be like Inafune and work on multiple things? Why can't there be multiple?
I don't
games
think I don't think that's what's gonna happen. His production company signed a deal with Sony to make a game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's gonna. Inafune is totally different. It's like Concept is a farm basically that works on a bunch of different games and he doesn't really seem to work on any of them. So I don't know. I don't see it that way. I think that he's gonna be very hands on and just like he's always done. Yeah, but we'll see. I don't know. If that's what people want, I hope I'm wrong. I don't really give a flying fuck what he does, to be honest with you. Like, I think that it's the story about it is way more interesting than the game.
Of course.
Yeah.
Liquid Snake 1 says, hello, longtime listener, first time suggestion. Both Greg and Colin have slightly discussed this topic as far as the company's financials are concerned, but my topic is more personal. I've been working at GameStop for over 2 years now, and I want to make a career out of it. I love games, but I have no desire to make or really write about them, but I love the sale industry and how I can help other gamers play great games. I've done many jobs being in my mid-20s and have also served in the Marines. After all these jobs, I know this is my passion, what I want to do. My fear is the digital age will eventually ruin GameStop and I will not be able to work in this part of the industry. Do you believe there will always be a place for these jobs? Any comments will help. I just want feedback from professionals, as no one I know personally knows the video game industry nearly as much as I do. Sorry this was so long. Hashtag Colin was right.
No, I mean, that job is not long for this world, obviously. I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take. A substantial part of our audience has a significant problem with me talking, especially on PS I Love You, about the digital revolution. And there are a lot of things, stopgaps that are going to stop it from happening very immediately, including bandwidth and internet infrastructure and stuff like that. But like, I've often talked about people like with what 5G means and all these kinds of things. Like, will we even really need wired internet in 5 years? And like, what will the future complexion of all of this look like? And then hard drive space and just the ability to get games on the whenever you want them. It's a similar movement with what's happening with paperback and hardcover books to Kindle, for instance. Like, Kindle is going to kill those. Like, there's always going to be a small market for them, and I think books are 10 times more likely to exist in 50 years than in physical form than a game. But the thing about him is that the thing that he might not be looking at is if he likes selling games and he likes doing all that stuff, you can work at a publisher, you can work at a developer and be a marketing guy.
Exactly.
You can be like on the sales teams of these games. Go to Sony, for instance, and they have salespeople, they have marketers, they have like people that really get into the nitty gritty of how do we get people to like this game or make this game. What about this game is most salient and all that kind of stuff. So he was in the Marines. Thank you for your service. You can, if you might have a college degree, you might not, use that service to get your college degree if you can, using the GI Bill and get involved on the publisher side. And I think that's always going to be safe. There's always, even though games aren't going to be published physically forever, games will always be published.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing too is games will always be sold digitally or sold, period, like whether it's digital or physical. And it's like, I feel like there's going to be somewhere he can work that's selling them. I think GameStop will exist in some form, even if it's like a digital distribution thing. But that requires jobs. Like, people work in those things. So if you work up your way, like, he's talking about going up. He's not talking about just being a sales, like a normal
associate or whatever.
Yeah, associate. Like, he's talking about moving on up. Like, I think that will be around. I don't think GameStop's just going to go away. It might change exactly what it is.
It'll
or whatever.
evolve, yeah.
But it's like, that's like Steam. You know what I mean? Like, Steam exists. Steam sells games. You could work there, and that could be a job. People need to work there for it to be a thing. So I think there will always be jobs in doing that type of stuff. It will be a different job than what you're doing right now.
Yeah, don't be pessimistic about it. I mean, just be optimistic about it, because the opportunities will just be different. But if you like selling games, you like talking about games, you like talking to games with people, I think you're gonna have a secure job for a very long time.
Glorious G123 says, hey buds, while I primarily roll with Xbox, I'm super interested in PlayStation still, even after buying a One and not a PS4. My coworker is trying to persuade me to buy a PS4 to play Doom and all the Sony hotness this year. I have the money, but I don't know if I should get another console when I can get the same game on my primary platform. Thoughts and advice?
Don't do it.
I mean, if you want to play Doom, I don't know why you would buy a PS4. That was what he said, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
And all the other Sony hotness.
Yeah, I mean, Uncharted's coming out on Horizon. I mean, and maybe The Last Guardian, and maybe some other shit I don't know about, but there's nothing, I'll say this again, there is nothing wrong with being evangelical and loyal to a console. Like, I don't buy the fanboy argument. I mean, as long as you're not illogical and irrational about it, there's nothing wrong with being like, I have an Xbox and I play Xbox games. There's only so much time in the day, and there's nothing wrong with saving the PlayStation or Nintendo if that's what you want to do. If Doom's the game that he's bringing up, then there's absolutely no reason to buy a PlayStation 4 unless he's interested in like a series of exclusive titles, right? So,
Yep.
but I just don't buy the argument that like to be a real gamer, you have to have everything. I just don't buy that at all. I don't think it makes you less of a gamer to have one console and to be passionate about that one console and play games on that one console. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
We've already got past the tipping point, right, where there's too many games to play. So yeah, you shouldn't feel bad to have one console and that's what you play on. If he's looking at PlayStation 4's lineup and all the exclusives and those are what he wants, then yeah, buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have them both, and I rarely use my Xbox. Not because I hate Xbox, just because for the majority of things I want to play and get trophies, right? But when that Xbox exclusive comes around, I put on the Xbox and play it. And I bought it knowing that's what it was going to be for, and I'm fine with that decision.
I think I've read the question a little bit differently. I think that if you have the money, like go for it. If you want to play the games with your friends, like if your friend has a PlayStation 4, I think that's a worthy investment because then you get to play the multiplayer games in that ecosystem and stuff. It's something you see like with Alfredo all the time, where it's like he was Xbox 360, but then his group of people was split between the PS4 and Xbox One. And I think that if you have the financial means to do it, you should have both. And you play these games with these people, you play those games with those people, and kind of just make those decisions that way. Because I mean, if those are the type of games you play, or games with friends, then yeah, it's totally worth it.
Yeah, but he has to ask himself. Yeah, I get that, and I come from a different perspective because I just don't care about playing with other people. Like that's just not how I play games. But the Doom thing was to me is like, all right, so if you're gonna buy Doom and get it for $60 on your Xbox One, you already own it, and play with people maybe you don't know or a friend or two that has an Xbox One, or you have a $400 investment. Is that really worth it? Unless you're really going to get a lot more out of $400 than just Doom if you're going to play, all the future multiplayer exclusive. I just don't want people to ever think that they have to go all in on all this stuff, because I always said that like my least favorite generation, even though I loved GameCube so much, was I had a GameCube, an Xbox, and a PS2, and hundreds of games for like across all those libraries. I had a fucking asinine amount of GameCube games, especially, and it was the least satisfying, least focused gaming years of my entire life, because I was like, well, I got money now and I gotta play everything, and I'm like, well, this is like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing half the time. I'm buying like half these games, I don't even open them, like because I feel like I have to. I feel like to be a gamer, I have to go to the store every week and buy this and have this console. And that's just like, nah, just focus on what makes you happy, and if it makes you happy and you can get a lot out of all these consoles, then do that. But never feel like you have to do it to like prove something.
Last question comes from our good friend Lou Turbo.
Turbo. How's the audio sound?
What category of games is Nintendo lacking that you think would be great for a new IP? Splatoon appears to have been a decent seller for Nintendo. This was their first attempt at an online multiplayer shooter. They were clearly late to the party, but it still seemed to work. I feel like an MMO could be cool, but the existing formula is stale and would need a lot of work / Nintendo polish to feel different and fresh. No, Tim, you can't just say a Pokemon MMO. Feel free to discuss that, but that's too easy. I agree. It is too easy. I also do agree that an MMO would be great. And you're right. I mean, Nintendo will add a twist. I don't know what it is, but to make it special in the same way they did with Splatoon. I don't think that they were late to the party on the first-person shooter thing. It's totally different. Like, it's a different party almost, a Mario party, some would say.
Wait, is Splatoon really an FPS?
Or shooter, whatever.
It's a third-person shooter.
Yeah,
right?
it's third-person.
Okay. Because I was going to say, the first-person shooter... I'm right? Splatoon is right. In my head, right?
Mm-hmm.
First person shooter. I mean, so this was an old debate at IGN with me and Mark Ryan specifically, and I thought he was completely dead wrong about it, which was, is Metroid he used to call it an adventure game. And I was like, it's a fucking first person shooter, And
Prime.
Metroid Prime, yeah. And I was like, but the funny thing about what Retro did with those games is that those games, even though they didn't sell very well, I mean, people overestimate Metroid's importance in the Nintendo ecosystem like a lot, but I love Metroid, and those games are great. Yeah. And I wonder, even though it's so un-Nintendo, they did something with a Nintendo IP that was brilliant. And I think that maybe first-person shooters aren't going anywhere. I agree that the first thing that came to my mind was Pokemon MMO, of course. But if he doesn't want that answer, I would say like a first-person shooter, like something gritty and hardcore. Like, the Conduit on Wii or whatever was not a Nintendo game. That was a high-voltage game, I think. But I think that was who did it. But, right? I don't even remember. But it was different. And like it attracted like the smaller, they did a sequel because it sold well enough, but it attracted this audience where they're like, oh, like I don't expect to find this here.
Kind of like Mad World.
Yeah, exactly. The original Platinum game. So it's like, so to me, it's I like, we expect the quirky platformers and the side scrollers and the fucking kart racers and the fighting game and all that kind of stuff. But where's the first person shooter? Like I'd like to see them do that and like a new, maybe not Metroid, but something just new and different. Something.
Well, Metroid's the like one player first person shooter. Like, and I guess Splatoon kind of is their answer to what a first person shooter multiplayer game would be, even though it's not first person. Like, it's still like a multiplayer shooter game. But yeah, I mean, I would like to see what an actual multiplayer based, like a more of a Call of Duty style first person shooter game could look like.
Built for the system, built from the ground up.
Yeah, exactly. But otherwise, man, I mean, I feel like Nintendo really is well represented in terms of the genres and in terms of having something for every single thing that's totally a twist on what everyone else does. And that's why I love them. That's why there is that Nintendo polish to all the stuff that they do, whether it's Fire Emblem's strategy thing, or it's Mario Kart's racing, or it's whatever. It's always more like fun. It's just the more fun, lighthearted, version of it. It's the Disney version. And I love
Nintendo games
that
are
shit.
always fun. That's what they succeed at. You sit down, you play them, you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, no matter what genre it is. Like RPGs, like they have the Mario RPGs and all that stuff. It's gold.
The genre they're lacking is a console golf game featuring Mario and Dry Bones.
That's a very specific.
Just
genre.
saying, I haven't seen one of those in a long time.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the first ever episode 58 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. The last one ever too as well. Thank you for joining me. I'm Tim Gettys. That's Greg Miller. That's Colin Moriarty. Kevin's somewhere out there doing some stuff, talking to Nick Scarpino.
Being a potato.
Until next time, I love you.
Taters up.